Okay. I'm shy.
Wow.
So, who are you? And who am I?
I'm Ari.
I'm Becky. And we are Niñas Tristes. We are starting this, I guess, sort of conversation with you guys, with our friends, with each other. Just to have a conversation, a local conversation.
Yeah, just be as real as possible and like not like scripted. We'll probably like beforehand think about topics, but that's about it. Because we just want to wing it and be as real as we can be. Because these are actual conversations that we've had before that we want to just share with other people, and in hopes of like, I guess, like finding other people, and also just, I guess, having other people relate.
Yeah. We'll have our friends on here. We just want to see people like us and have a platform. So today we'll talk about we'll have a conversation about femininity and hair, and
Also, yeah, I guess, I don't know if it would be like the perceptions of beauty also that would align with it, or just like, yeah, I guess femininity that has to do with, but also the fact that like
and
hair,
being Latina,
yeah, being Latina,
growing up in a Latino household, and these standards that are kind of put on us, and the way that we, like some of us having to like cook, clean, and be like wifey.
So yeah, for example, earlier today, a lift that I got like on my way to work, there was this older black woman, and it was a really cool like experience. Well, like for the morning, because of her just immediately as soon as I got in the car her expressing to me how much she loved that I was able to do whatever I wanted with the way I looked and my hair, and like being as bold as I was. And like I think that's funny because like I've shared this with a lot of people, and then like, well, like on and off, like, but a lot of people, I remember like telling this story about how I even started dyeing my hair, or even like, yeah, like why I do some of the things that I did. And it was because like growing up, my parents are like super old school, like Mexican parents. Like I'm first generation, so it's just like when I was younger, like my mom, like I guess like I know now that she loved the idea of me having long hair. Like she loved like seeing people be like, oh my god, like mira que bonito se ve con su pelo, que largo está. And like my mom loved that, and so I feel like she was living something that she wanted for me, like, but it was actually like her like own vision of probably what she wanted in her, like. And it was just weird, but like for the longest time, like I didn't mind it, like, because she would always like do my hair, so I didn't have to worry about it for a while. But then like once I was already like probably 6th grade, I was just like, yo, like this, like it was like under my butt, so it was just like I can't manage this, like it's hot, like I just like don't even know what to do with it. And I remember asking my mom, like, can I cut my hair? And she was like no, like she never let me cut it. And so I was just like, fuck, like and then I felt kind of bad, like just thinking of the idea of just cutting my own hair. But then I was like, nah, you know what, she's not gonna let me, so I just gotta do it myself. And so I remember, and I didn't even cut it. I literally probably cut it to the size that I have right now. And like that was me being like rebellious, like, and I remember cutting it, and she saw it, and she seemed like she was upset, like, but like it didn't really last. It was probably like only for like a day, and then she was just like, I guess she like got it, and she's like, all right, like, yeah, like I can't tell you what to do, like, which is cool because it could have been worse, like, you know, like she could have been like, what the fuck, like.
Well, when we went to that, when we were in New York, and that girl was talking about, one of the filmmakers was talking about how women would leave like the Andes, like all the women had like long trenzas, like they all had like thick long hair, like leaving their country, like it was also like the transformation of their hair and cutting off the braid, and her film was basically about her transition from like leaving home. She left I'm not sure where exactly she was from, but she like left her homeland, like, and has like, I guess like jet black hair, then moves to Germany, cuts her hair, like bleaches it, and I feel like that's something that we all kind of can relate to, or like at least like I think you and I definitely have had those experiences of like experiencing some sort of like change in your life, or like you've been bald before, like you've had that like short hair before, and like now like how you're mentioning you cut your hair, like even after your parents were like nah, like, and that is very common in like the Mexican community, and like at least speaking for ourselves, like our grandparents, our parents, like being like thinking that only long hair is beautiful hair, and only like when it's thick, if it's not thick it's not like beautiful, and like then aside from that, like culturally, like experiencing like some sort of change in your life and like cutting your hair or dyeing your hair, like when I had my first breakup, I like went and bleached my hair like several times, and I was blonde for a minute. And like you wanting to just cut your hair, like you end up just cutting it yourself.
Yeah. And then it's funny because you say all that, and then I'm like, yo, I came to two realizations like in my life and different points in my life, which is that one was that like cultural side of it when I was younger, and then when I was in my teenage years, when I was like being like seen or whatever, people thought that was like the main reason why I had extensions, but no, like I remember finding myself like that was a part of it, but a main part was the like
coontail clip-ins.
A main part though was that I started thinking that was the only way to find myself attractive, like to people, and I was like, wow, like I was like, more men like look at me, or like more like people find me attractive with longer hair, and so like for the longest time, like I was obsessed with like I needed the extensions like to make me feel better. And then I reached a point where I was just like, I probably was, when I was about to be 18, that I started realizing the people I was hanging out with, that like I didn't want to hang out with them anymore. And then that was when I was truly finding myself, like a great part of myself, and like all my traumas and all this stuff. And then I was like, I honestly don't care at this point. And so I was like, I don't really care if anyone finds me attractive anymore. I don't really care about this. So I was like, I literally like cut my hair. I remember I have pictures, and it's like all trasquilado. Like I cut it, like I didn't even shave it off. Like I cut it to like bald, like almost like all bald, and it had like little spots. And I remember I took a picture and I sent it to my friend, and like I was like, damn, like I fucked up. I cut my hair.
It's like some have the Barbies. Like I know I used to like cut my Barbie's hair, and I'm like, I want a cute short haircut, and then it's just like, oh shit, like damn. You don't even cut straight. Like it was just like, I definitely like, I don't know. I feel like that is very liberating. Like to kind of just, I don't know. I feel like it's almost like you kind of just erase your identity, like by not having hair, like sometimes, or like even like dyeing your hair, cutting your hair, you're like totally, you can totally like feel like you're someone else.
Yeah.
But that's really strange, like how, like, well, to what you just said earlier of like, oh, like people will pay attention to me more and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's on some like Little Kim shit too. Like, she went through all this like transformation and like had said something about like that being blonde and like just adapting to European like beauty standards, because like a lot of people would find that attractive, or like being blonde, like being attractive, like if you change your hair color. And it just, I think now we're more at a point where it's just more of like expression.
Yeah.
And
what's fun and like
it is.
Yeah. And yeah, I think now it's just kind of like whatever, and like people are just having fun with their hair. But then sometimes I feel like most recently a lot of my friends have gone through that transition of cutting it extremely short, but also because they've found themselves in a place where they were like, yeah, this is me. And then also them just finally being truly comfortable with their sexuality, and which is a lot of them is like being non-binary. And so like it's really cool to see that too, that aspect of them like going through that, like, and seeing them be like, to them it's being like, well, fuck all of y'all, like, and this is me, and like that's kind of cute, like,
because like everyone's known you. I know a particular friend that you had that had like really, really long hair, or just like longish hair, and then like suddenly had like extremely short hair, and I was like, oh damn, like that.
And like, they still look, it's almost super like cute, right? Like,
yeah, but it's just like two totally different people, or maybe like visually it's like two totally different people. But I think it's awesome that you're able to just say so much with your hair, like the length, or if you decide to like bleach it or anything, and that we are very diverse that way.
Yeah.
What about like when people look at you and they compliment your hair? Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, I guess one thing about like dealing with like having like colorful hair or like crazy hair is always dealing with people like staring at you, and then always getting spotted too. In different places.
You know what? When I went to, I think it was like Pilsen Fest last year. Forgive me that I even went. I shouldn't have even gone. But I went to Pilsen Fest and I was all like, oh, I feel like I must spot like Alfredo or something. And like sure enough, I did, because of his hair. Like I think it was dyed or something. So you're like easily spotted.
Yeah.
And that too is like, why do people like link that to like you're friendly? Like, what if you don't even want to be bothered? Like, people just want to talk to you.
That's true though. Yeah, that
like straight up.
Yeah,
like,
people are always like,
you're
oh,
welcome
like,
wagon and shit.
Because I guess because it connects like, oh, crazy hair, so like you must be like this like crazy like wacky person. So let me talk to you. You talk to anybody, and it's like, nah, actually, like I fucking hate talking to people like that I don't know. And I hate like social interaction. More like, I don't hate them, but it's just like more than I have to. Like that shit, like it's just too much, especially with strangers. Like now I'm so used to it, and I'm older, and so I'm just like, okay, like I'll be respectful, and I'm just like thank you, like, cause yeah, like it does mean a lot to have people constantly be like, oh my god, like your hair is so pretty, like, or your hair, like I love your hair, and it's just like, oh, thank you. But like at first, like I never knew how to deal with like that's only because like I didn't like compliments, like when people would give me compliments, like it was just weird to me. I was like, wow. And then especially
you wanna,
walking by, like
into the background sometimes and not even like be looked at.
Yeah.
But then it's that like double sort, like the flip side to when like people compliment you, you have like all these people that are judging you and
True, yeah.
kind of being like,
damn. And then that reminds me too.
you motherfucking clown.
Yeah.
Like,
that reminds me too about like how like the other day, I remember like when I was telling you about how like at work that older woman was like, oh, like I guess this was supposed to be a compliment to me, but I was like actually really like annoyed by the comment that she made, which was like, she was like, oh, she was having a conversation with my coworker about like, oh, my hair, like, oh, it's so pretty, and then she went on to say how like, it's like she's just like this work of art, and I was just like, no, bitch, like, no, I'm not, like, I'm like a fucking human being, like, no, like, just because you're some basic white bitch, like, to be like looking at someone who is different and you're not used to like being around,
like you are
like,
abstract. I don't
it's just like,
understand.
yeah,
you.
like we need to put you in a museum, and it's just like, no, like, you know how weird that fucking sounds? Like, that's so fucking weird. It's like if you saw like this, like in like like actual indigenous person, you were like, oh my god, you're like a piece, like a work of art, like that's
a piece of history,
like that's offensive,
in front
like
of
that's
me.
offensive as fuck, especially like, I don't know, I felt some type of way. I was just like, I was mad, I was like annoyed, and I just like, when she said that, like, I think she expected me to be like, oh my god, like, thank you, but I literally looked at her and was like, walked away, rolled my eyes, and I was just like, and like, I'm so glad she left after that, because I literally told him, like, my coworker, like, oh, I was like, yo, like, I'm not a fucking like art project, like, that's not, and like now it's a joke like between like me and like my coworker, but like in
the moment that it
yeah,
was told to you, it was just like offensive.
Yeah, it was
like,
rude.
what the fuck you mean?
I was like,
I'm
just
a piece of artwork.
Just white people are so fucking weird, like, and it's just like, yeah, like how the way that they're so like able to say like certain shit to people, you know, and like no disregard, like, I don't know, I feel like then some people would be like, but she probably didn't mean it like that, but like, how else would you mean that? That's so weird, like, that's a weird thing to say to somebody, you know?
It almost sounds like a like backhanded compliment.
Yeah, right, like, it's, I was like, I didn't see it as a compliment whatsoever,
like, it's like
though.
looking at you like like
Yeah.
almost being like, oh, like, that's different.
Yeah, like
you
bitch,
know?
yeah.
like
Okay.
like in Spanish, más calladita te ves más bonita.
True,
like,
yeah.
shut the fuck up. Like, just don't even say anything at all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Here's your coffee, bitch. Keep it moving.
Yeah. But shit like that. I love the shit like that. It's just crazy to think about, though.
So I'm Becky.
And I'm Ari.
We are Niñas Tristes. Oh, like, not even sad right now. No.
I know, right?
So we are creating this to kind of have these open dialogues, have these conversations, these uncomfortable conversations, these conversations that we have with our friends, all uncensored, all unscripted. We right now are at Dvork Park. Using public spaces is really important to both of us.
Yeah.
And actually, this is the origin of our relationship. We have worked together, creating a zine before, and really just kind of healing while we like talk to one another, having, you know, just being friends.
Yeah. Yeah, we would always have very deep and intimate conversations. That's how our like friendship got like super close, which was like, I guess it's always been hard to be real with certain people in my life. Not that I was fake to people, but I've just always been guarded, and I don't really like to tell people my business. And also like it's just like hard to like to tell people like how you really feel, and like that shit would just come out like with us just literally having these long like intimate conversations, and they've always been really cool. And I think that's why we were able to create beyond like conversations, which is like why we created like Fuck Boys, because we were both like, I guess, like going through like
very similar situations.
Yeah, and like just like dealing with like what
With
relationship,
fuckboys?
yeah, with fuckboys, and also just like having to yeah, just to talk about how like relationship or like just the ideas of relationship can mean like a lot of different things, and I think that in our lives we've seen a lot of different types of relationships. Um,
And being like romantic ones aren't always like the most important relationships. I think that we kind of have, as a society, we always put like such effort to like be with someone romantically, but I feel like I've kind of built like those I've prioritized a lot of like my friendships, and I think this is one that was like very important to me, like being able to be this. So we want to share with you guys, and we want to share with like, we want local voices. We will have our friends on here. We will talk about like our own experiences with different like topics that we find interesting, or that we feel like no one really like has a conversation about or is open about. So yeah, this will be exciting. We will have more to offer like in the future episodes of this.
yeah, so this was our first time being on camera, and I think it was
Can you
decent.
tell?
I think it was decent. I feel like for it not being like, oh, like retaking and like doing it over again, I feel like this went like pretty normal and casual. We didn't mess up too hard. Too hard.
Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. The link is below.
I guess closing.
Closing thoughts. Do whatever the fuck you want. Dye your hair, cut your hair, go bald, bleach your eyebrows. Do what you want. True. With your body.
Yeah, I think there. I guess it doesn't necessarily only have to be about hair, but I think that's like a main.
Yeah, that was the main topic that we
Yeah.
kind of wanted to discuss.
But as a whole, I guess, yeah, like just it doesn't fucking matter what people think, and I think, yeah, like I constantly like I'm always thinking about that, about how like, yeah, I think I care more about what I think about like what like I want to do with myself, and that's why like now I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to have like normal hair. I don't want to have normal hair, and it's just like because I'm so
Imagine?
used to like.
I don't know if I'd
having it,
recognize you without colored hair.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I feel like it wouldn't be me. I mean,
Right? I'd be like, who the fuck? Like, who is she?
I feel like, yeah, it's like
I don't
a
even
part
know
of
what
me
your
now.
real hair color is.
Right?
What
True.
is it?
It's like a brown.
Right?
It's like a brown.
Just looks at your siblings and like, a ver qué color es. Can we drink now?
No, true.
I'm like,